Welcome back into today's video. We have a very important interview to do with the Mini Lad situation. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Mini Lad is a YouTuber with a very, very big audience. He currently has over 5.21 million subscribers on his YouTube platform, and he's been accused of manipulating his audience and preying upon some of his underage fans. I covered this entire situation in a very in-depth video with multiple receipts, and all the sources that you're going to need are going to be in the description. I do highly suggest that you watch this video. Now, there were two specific individuals involved in this situation, that being Hallie and Ash. Now, if you remember, I did an interview with Hallie back about 2 months ago, October 14th, 2020. Hallie talked about the emotional manipulation that she went through at the hands of Mini Lad. Also explained how he had inappropriate conversations with individuals under the age of 18. And in today's video, we have an interview with Ash. Now, this interview adds a lot to the situation, things that have not been heard before. It adds a lot of context to a lot of things, and I feel is very important and needs to be heard. As always, respect the person that's sharing the story, and let's show a lot of support in the comment section below. We have here with us Ash. I really appreciate you for being here and telling your story. I know it's actually somebody else's story that inspired you to come out with your own. So it means a lot for you to be here.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. When did you first come into contact with Mini Lad?
So I made a fan account for him. I was a huge fan of like that whole group. It was like early 2016, like January. I made my account, and just started like following a whole bunch of like other girls my age that were also, you know, big fans and were into the same kind of things that I was, just to make friends, you know, kind of into the stan culture. And ended up making really good friends through that. And we kind of all came together, made a big group chat, you know, from that. And we were just annoying as hell. We would spam tweet him all the time. And not just him, we would spam tweet everyone.
How old were you at this time?
I was, I was not 16. I was 17.
You just turned 17?
Yeah.
And you guys were in this group chat. You were trying to meet some friends, and then you were essentially looking for a name for the group chat. That's why you guys started spamming out there.
Yeah. We were trying to find a name, just being annoying. And he replied to one of the other girls in the group chat. Her name was Kelly. She was like, "Hey, give us a name for a group chat." And he replied with a name. And she, under that tweet, was like, "Oh, you should join the group chat. Like, we're having fun in here, kicking it. Like, join us." And he was like, okay, and immediately followed her so that she could add him to the group chat. And she did. So she added him, and we, you know, talked back and forth. And I really wasn't even around. Like, I was, I think, driving like to my dad's house at the time. So I was like popping in and out every like 5-10 minutes, like hating myself because I wasn't available. And it was so exciting.
It was a big deal that he was in there.
Right.
So you guys are like kind of shocked.
Huge deal. Yeah. And so like he was only in there for 2 hours, maybe tops. And so he leaves, and like everything's fine. We're like freaking out the rest of the night. We're like in a Discord call, like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this happened. Like, thank you." We're spam tweeting him, "Thank you." And I like think that that's it. Like, you know, that's the end. And so I go to bed, and then the next morning.
So I just want to get straight. Like, it was just, when he got in there, it was just mostly like a casual, like Q&A, laid back. You talked about interests, music, things like that. How old was what was the general consensus of the age of the group?
There might have been one person over 18, but the rest, everyone was over like, or under, 17, 16. Right. You know, we were all younger.
And then the next morning, you actually got a follow from him.
Yeah, he followed and DM'd me and was like, "You're the reason, like if I wouldn't have seen your tweet, like I wouldn't have gone in the group chat and had such an amazing time." And I was like, oh, like I was confused because I didn't tweet him. I wasn't even around at the time.
He'd actually had the exchange with another member, Kelly.
Yeah.
And so he's just out of nowhere saying you're the reason that he came to the group chat.
Mm-hmm.
Very
confusing. Which was super confusing. So I was like, oh, okay, like cool. Thank you for following me. Like I watch your videos all the time. I look up to you and stuff. And he, like, that first conversation we had was really heavy because he was either going through the breakup with that ex at the time or was like having issues with this girl. So it was like that's just what he was dumping on me. Like, oh yeah, if you ever need anything, reach out. Here's what I'm going through.
Like immediately, that's what he jumped into.
Like first conversation we ever had.
Like, hey, you're the reason I joined that group chat the other day. By the way,
yeah, here's my personal life.
So that must have been hard to concept. I bet you didn't really know what to think there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was just excited to like have his attention. Really, like I wasn't like too worked up or anything or looked too much into it, but it was definitely strange. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of your like childhood heroes, and he's giving you attention, and he's actually saying to you that if you ever need anything,
reach out. I'm here. Yeah, right. It was like great.
You had very deep and heavy conversations where he ended up talking about how he wanted to end his life.
Yeah, that's like what a lot of our conversations were kind of based around, like especially at the beginning of all of our conversations, is that's what he would reach out for, is like, oh, I'm having issues, I'm struggling.
He was in his early 20s at this time, and it's one thing in itself to like have this power imbalance, and he's just gonna unload all these personal issues on a 17-year-old girl. But then also, like, he is a 20-year-old man talking to a teenager.
Yeah.
So I imagine it's just extremely hard to concept it. You said that he initiated the conversations every time?
Every single conversation. I was too intimidated, and that was like a thing that he was like, oh, you can, text me anytime. And he would get like, not mad, but like fake mad, be like, just text me. Like, it's fine. And I'm like, no, like you're this big, like, person in my eyes. Like, I'm not going to just bother you, So every single time, every single conversation he initiated.
So after about 2 or 3 weeks of this kind of just really just odd behavior, he went sexual out of nowhere.
Yeah. He kind of just brought up one day the subject of virginity, and it kind of just tanked from there. He like asked me if I was a virgin, like just like middle school boy stuff, and it was really like strange, and it was like surreal because
He just out of nowhere just asked you. So he goes from, I just want to get this straight. He goes from telling you that he feels like he's going to end his life to like, hey, are you a virgin?
Yeah, like quick switch.
So that had to have been just weird emotions, weird feelings.
Yeah, because it was like, oh, well, he's, if I don't give him what he wants, am I responsible? Like, I'm responsible for this person.
So it must have been like very difficult. Now you said that when he asked you if you were a virgin, he also asked if he could take your virginity.
Yeah, and I was weirded out, but I did say yes.
Right. How did he ask this? Like,
he was just like, first he was like, are you a virgin? And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, oh, well, can I take it? And I was like, because in my head, I was never gonna like meet him like in a setting that would be able to happen. So I was like, oh, sure. Yeah.
Did you feel like you were afraid to say no to him?
Not afraid, but like if I said no, like why would he keep talking to me? Like, if this is what he wants, clearly.
So you showed signs of being uncomfortable, and he would go back to talking about his mental health.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that dynamic there?
Yeah, because like when I wouldn't, or when I was taking too long, he'd be like he would switch the conversation back. He'd be like, "Oh, it's okay," and then back to how he wants to, hurt himself. Um, he'd be like I'm preparing you for the future. Like your future boyfriend would be annoyed because you're taking too long to do what he's asking you to do.
So
That kind of stuff.
he would tell you that he's preparing you, like
Mm-hmm.
he's just a good dude. He's just preparing you for the
Yeah,
future. Like
the
you're gonna
greatest.
have these sexually charged conversations. It's just
Mm-hmm.
you said on one occasion he started talking about how he wanted to end his life, and you asked him how you could help, and
Mm-hmm.
that's when he asked you for pictures of your body. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, yeah, and I think I have a screenshot of that
Yeah.
somewhere in my thread. But yeah, we had a long discussion. Like he was, really like detailed, or not detailed, but was just descriptive. And then
Telling you what he wanted you to do.
yeah, yeah. And then
That's,
he was like, "Oh, well, I was like, "Oh, how can I like help you?" Because it was very like distressing, you know, because
yeah,
like that's
like
a human life that is
you
you
want to
have in
help
your
any
hands.
way you can, but you
Hmm.
never expect the person to say, you know what would help me.
Yeah.
I think most people watching this is going to see that this is a high form of manipulation, and
Yeah.
what he did to you was weaponize his mental health against
Mhm.
a minor.
Yeah. Kind of a common theme through all of this.
How often would this happen, and how did it make you feel?
We talked, I mean, every other day, so every couple days. Um, and just every single time, coming out of every single conversation, like when I was in it, I felt like it was great. Like when we were having the conversation, and when I was getting the attention, it was great. um and then coming out of the conversations, I'm like, well, he just got what he wanted and then left me on red. So it like I
It was
just felt
literally like
used.
as soon as you gave in to what he asked you, left on red, didn't
Yeah,
even.
yeah.
You said you felt pressure to keep sending him pictures because you wanted to help, but you were also afraid he would stop talking to you. Do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was a huge fan, so like the attention was really exciting. And if I hadn't done what he wanted me to do, I don't think he would have continued to, message me, because that's all that relationship was.
Yeah, that's one point I want to put across strongly is like this is
Mhm.
the manipulation of a power imbalance. When somebody that you idolize or look up to, somebody that's got great influence, um, reaches out like that, you do feel pressure. You feel multiple emotions, and it's not okay. And actually, um, it's actually illegal if somebody holds a position of trust or power, specifically in his where he comes from, Northern Ireland, I believe it is.
I think.
That is a law. Like if somebody is in a position of
Mhm.
power, you can't have any type of relations with anyone under the ages of 18. It actually is a law in several states in the United States. It could be federal. I haven't looked far into that, but I think most of us can agree it's morally and ethically
Yeah.
not right. So clearly, anybody watching this can see what was going on. So you said this back and forth lasted about from July 2016 to January 2017.
Uh, yeah, January, early. I don't. He got in his car accident mid February, so like yeah, late January, early February.
Um, I'm gonna ask a difficult question. I know it's pretty
Mhm.
obvious at this point, but I have to ask it. Did Mini Lad, aka Craig Thompson, is that right?
Mhm.
Did he send and receive inappropriate images with you when you were under the age of 18?
Yeah, sent and received. Yep.
And this was something he was fully aware of, like, your age, and he actually brought this up often.
Yeah, like even in our first, when he was in the group chat, he asked everyone's age, and we all went around, told him how old we were. And I think it was like in my bio, probably my pin tweet, how old I was. Like it wasn't, he knew.
So that's like one of his first off questions. He's asking everybody how old they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very strange. You said he would tell you things like he couldn't be seen in public with you because of your age.
Yeah, because I had a trip planned to California. And thankfully, things kind of fell through when I had a, family member that had some health issues. But
I'm sorry to hear that about the family.
No, it's okay. Everything's fine.
I'm relieved you didn't.
Me too. But yeah, I was like, he wanted me to like spend the night at his house, and I'm like, I'm 17. There's no way, like, my mom's gonna let me go to this stranger's house, like, by myself. And I was like, well, I'll be at Disneyland. Like, we can, it's a public place, safe. My parents will be there. And he was like, oh, well, you're 17, so people are going to think that that's weird, and they're going to give me shit for it. And, we can't go anywhere. I was like, oh, okay, that's fair, I guess.
How'd that make you feel?
Hurt, but also, like, I kind of understood.
Was there any conversation or anything that alluded that anything sexual would happen if you guys did meet in California?
Oh, yeah. If I was going to go to his house, like, that's the only reason he wanted me to go over there.
What kind of stuff did he say? You don't have to answer this, but what kind of stuff did he say that he wanted to happen?
Like sex, full on. Yeah.
Did you think that you guys were progressing towards a relationship?
In my head, yes. In his head, probably not. I say probably not, but definitely not.
At the time, did you think if you did what he was asking you that you guys would eventually date?
Oh yeah. Because I did it to keep his attention. So like if I kept the attention, and then when I turned 18, it's like, oh, well, this is okay now. So
one thing I want to talk about is you said at the same time that he was talking to you and having this relationship with you, he was also talking with and having some type of relationship with one of his exes. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, he was kind of on again, off again with her, or like would talk to her and then, they wouldn't talk or something like that. So I kind of filled those gaps, I think, because, all of our conversations would start mental health. I'm doing really terribly. Here's how you can help me. I give him what he wants. And then I think I'm getting back with my ex. So that was just kind of the routine, like, cycle that we went through every single time.
That had to be really emotionally difficult.
Yeah. It was really like every time, and I never learned. It happened every time, and I never learned.
Well, you were 17.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you think that the other girl knew about you?
I don't think so. I don't know too much about it. But like I said, I just kind of filled those gaps.
There was actually a person actually reached out to you and tried to get you to not come out about your story. Do you feel like talking about that?
I mean, it was just like he just didn't want, because it was just another way that he manipulated someone into keeping me silent. Like,
he did this a lot.
Yeah, not just with me, to my friend that knew. He would message her, and because she was very vocal when I told her about what happened, she would tweet, Mini Lad sucks, or I'm gonna expose him, and then everyone that had an idea would kind of freak out and try and save his ass, and they'd message me, or they'd message the girl that tweeted, Sav, and yeah, it was just kind of a mess.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's the Sav, the girl that would tweet about it, is the, I guess, cause of that message where it says that we'll kill millions of people. One of
Oh
her
yeah.
tweets was
He
sent to him.
it's important for people to know that on multiple occasions he would weaponize his mental health. He would try to say that and make you guys feel guilty. Like if you did come out and you spoke about him, you told people the things that he was doing and saying to you guys, it was going to be your fault if millions of his fans hurt themselves.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
these screenshots. I'll put them up here so people can see them.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
Well, at the time, I was scared because I didn't like in his apology video, he said that I was his friend and that I knew him from being associated with his mods, which is not
Right.
true.
Yeah.
I didn't know his mods and I was not friends with his mods. There was a lot of like animosity between me and his mod group for like a good long bit until like I think the real story kind of came out. And I think Hallie was the one that told them everything that happened, because even me and Hallie kind of, because she was still being manipulated by him and she supported him for a long time, which is really unfortunate. But obviously good now that, everything kind of worked out. But yeah, even she would, send Sav's tweets and would try and like get us to stop. And I don't mean to sound like I, hate Hallie or anything. Like me and everyone that I associate now with are fine and they are great, fantastic. It was just an unfortunate, time.
I mean, you guys are kids. It's an unfortunate situation.
Exactly.
You were
Yeah.
put in this situation by an adult.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's definitely not your fault. You said he mostly sent images, but he did send at least one video. And you also exchanged phone numbers with him, and you would have conversations where he would allude to like sexual innuendos or puns. Like, can you talk about that?
Yeah, he was really into puns. It was very strange. So like he never said anything like incriminating enough, or we never had like explicit phone calls where we were like talking because I think he didn't want to be recorded or anything. But it was just enough to be like weird,
Yeah. Like you could get the gist of what he was implying.
Right. Yeah.
So do you feel like he is a manipulative person?
110%. Yeah. And I think he's really good at it. And it's scary because even, before we came out with our story, he texted Hallie because she was really vocal about it online. And one of my mutual friends with him, Laura, who he apologized to in his video, reached out to him and told him that I was going to put out my own kind of statement or whatever. And he freaked out and wanted her to get in contact with me so that I could get in a call with him and like vent or whatever and just, let it out. And he told her he sat and ruminated on this for 3-4 years or however long it's been. And my issue with that was, you had 3 years to ruminate on this and fix this, and he never ever once like talked to me in that time or tried to
yeah.
Right. And even then he had someone do it for him. He had Laura contact someone else to try and get in a call with me to do that. And thankfully I had like the best people ever in a call with me, supporting me, not letting me do that.
I know he talked about this in his last apology video. He put it on the screen, but he puts those, every screenshot that he put on the screen, he put without context. Now, if nobody knows the situation,
I noticed that.
So that's another reason why I feel that this interview is specifically important.
Yeah.
He says that if you coming out with your story was gonna somehow make him end his life. That was what he was implying. Now, clearly, looking in hindsight, looking back on this, we can see that he had used and weaponized his mental health on so many different occasions.
Mhm.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying that he didn't experience these mental issues.
Right,
It
yeah.
doesn't change the fact of what his intent towards saying these things were, especially with his last apology video with the blanket statements and
Right.
mm.
Yeah.
When he come out with his last apology video, how'd that make you feel?
I was happy that he kind of like I was just happy that he gave some context. Like it was bare minimum. I was like, I'll take anything at this point. I think it being so far removed and having uploaded so many videos like in between that just PEMDAS cancels everything out. Like you can't be genuine at that point.
Right.
Because it just yeah, I didn't think it's too late to be genuine.
I completely understand. I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
So this back and forth relationship actually ended around the same time he had a car accident in around the first week of February. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, that was the last time we talked was I think the first week of February, and then a couple days after that he got in his accident, and then that's where he ended up meeting his current ex.
So you're talking to him, and you guys are having this on and off again like type of relationship where he's asking you for things, and he gets in an accident, and then out of nowhere he gets with another girl. How does this make you feel?
I mean, obviously I was hurt, but it was that I was able to like take a step back and look, from an outside perspective and see, okay, well, this was weird and this wasn't right. And I was able to like I told my friends, I was kind of ran it by them. I was like, hey, this is weird, right? And they're like, yeah, like absolutely not okay.
It was so strange that you were just like, you had to like show somebody else, like, am I crazy or is this?
Yeah, I felt crazy because every single conversation we had to a T was like the same.
That feeling that made you feel crazy, that's known as gaslighting, and you were gaslit through the whole relationship. Where essentially it had an adult weaponize his mental health against you, and not just you, but other people. And there could be other girls that we don't know about. And one of the reasons that I feel is important for you to come on here is that you yourself shared your story because of someone else's story. Is that correct?
Yeah. Everyone on Twitter, it was kind of like that Me Too movement, was very like inspiring, and I felt safer, because
and that's why it's very important for the sharing of these types of stories. So what do you think should happen to Mini Lad?
I would love to see his YouTube gone, or at least not being able to make money off of it, because he's shown several times you can't be responsible with a large platform that is mostly kids. So I don't think once you've shown that, you don't deserve it anymore.
Right. Do you? Well, I really appreciate you for coming on. Do you have any closing statements you'd like to tell everybody watching?
Oh, I don't think so.
Anything that you'd like to say to him? Because he's definitely going to watch this.
No, I don't ever want to talk to him ever.
I understand completely.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you for coming on. I know it took a lot to do this.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I was so nervous.
You did really good.
Thank you. Thank you.
And again, I want to thank Ash for coming on. I really appreciate her for sharing her story. It means a lot to a lot of people, and it sheds a lot of light on this situation. If you need to reach out to me, if you need to say anything, just my DMs on Instagram are open. Just give me like 2 or 3 days, but you will hear back from me. That being said, and as interesting as it is, always since it's more interesting to me, that's right, you guessed it. I want to know what you think, so why don't you go ahead and leave your creative and or interesting responses in the comment box below. Thumbs up for those likes. As always, brothers and sisters, I will see you in the next video.